New York Times columnist Maureen Dowd has covered Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump for decades. The Pulitzer Prize winner wrote about Donald Trump in 1999 as he contemplated a run for president. She said the businessman, quote, is pure id, no trepidation, no guilt, no PC restraint. Dowd has also written sharply about public perception of Hillary Clinton. During Bill Clinton's 1992 campaign, Dowd described strategists trying, quote, to figure out a way to mend her image problems. Dowd's new book, The Year of Voting Dangerously, features dozens of columns, essays, and satires of the two candidates. She also takes a critical eye to the 2016 election. Maureen Dowd joins us again at the table. Welcome.
Thank you, Nora.
You call this election, you say, we have the king of winging it versus the queen of homework.
Yeah. Right. It's amazing. So her problem is she's too tightly controlled, and his problem is he's out of control.
Yeah.
And you know, his problem is he's too bold, and her problem is she's sometimes not bold enough.
Now, you call it the battle of the sexes. You bring up Billie Jean King and Bobby Riggs. That was an epic battle, Maureen Dowd.
Well, Gail, it's interesting because for centuries, women were considered temperamentally and biologically unsuited to hold higher office or even vote. And so now in this campaign, we have a candidate who gets their feelings hurt very easily and is pouty and gossipy and bitchy and sometimes hysterical and worries constantly about hair care, but it's not the woman.
Yes.
You know? And then we have one who's very controlled and a hawk and wears tailored suits, and it's not the man. So.
But you take both candidates to task, Maureen, in your columns. You say they both have a fluid relationship with the truth, that gaffes don't seem to matter, neither does the truth. So what does matter to voters, and what do you think it'll take to sway undecided voters as the clock is really ticking?
Well, I think historically voters are more fearful and depressed and anxious, you know, than they have ever been, and they are trying to decide who to vote against, not who to vote for, and they have these two candidates with historically high unpopularity ratings. And so, you know, it's a very sad and anxious election that way. And you've got, you know, the Republican Party is being held hostage to the whims of this 70-year-old high chair king, and the Democratic Party is being held hostage to the whims of the bizarre Clinton predilection for self-destructive and arrogant behavior just when things are going well, as we've seen this week.
And what do you think about that?
I agree with David Axelrod that it's more about stealth than health. You know, one of the things politicians, male and female, get most sensitive about are health issues. They don't want to be seen as weak. And my brother was a page for JFK after he had his back operation.
A Senate page working on Capitol Hill.
And he opened the door for him when he was on crutches. And JFK tried to get my brother fired. And because he was so humiliated to have to be on crutches. And I just think health issues are hard. So the alt-right has been trying to make it a gender issue with Hillary, that she's the little woman who's weak and isn't as strong.
Have stamina, yeah.
But it isn't about that. You know, that is not the problem. The problem with the health issue for her is it's a microcosm of a very destructive pattern she's had since I started covering her in '92, where she just is so secretive. She has her own wall. Trump has his wall, and she has her wall of, you know, don't tell the press anything. They're just out to get us. And then it takes a relatively mundane thing and it snowballs into this thing where her foes and the press are in this frenzy.
But doesn't it always do, I mean, with regard to transparency, really, which now they're lobbying back and forth, and I'm reminded of that great line from Princess Bride. You keep using that word. I do not think it means what you think it means.
Josh, quoting Princess Bride.
These are two candidates. These are two candidates where so much is baked in the cake.
Right.
And it's they're candidates for our time as well, a social media-driven, celebrity-obsessed electorate. So does transparency, in a way, does it matter to an electorate that doesn't seem to care?
It's interesting because we are selfie nation, and in some ways running for president is the new selfie. But that's why with Trump and Hillary, it's hopeless for them to try and occlude and create this fog on everything they do and not release their records.
So your book is called The Year of Voting Dangerously, but I'm worried about the next year of governing dangerously, which could be your next, because You write, the awesome responsibility of the job of presidency intensifies insecurities and pathologies. And that's why campaigns matter.
Right, you're exactly right, Nora. And I asked Trump this, and it's an interview I have in the book, you know, when we were talking one day, and I said, you are, and he got mad at me, but I said, you are a clinical narcissist. And when you get in the White House, the problem is that some historical event hits you, like 9/11, all of your insecurities and gremlins come out, and all of these things, it's a perfect storm. And so, yeah.
At the very
Maureen
least,
Dowd,
Maureen,
thank
you
you.
have to say that it does give you a lot of material.